We're here at the Chartered Accountants Hall in London to mark the 50th anniversary of the introduction of VAT into the UK. Since 1973, when VAT was introduced, VAT has generated something like £3 trillion of tax revenue. Hospitals, schools, roads, all of those would not have been possible without our VAT system.
VAT is the third biggest tax that HMRC collects after income tax and national insurance. It contributed £158 billion last year to paying for the UK's public services. And it's a pretty stable flow of tax because UK consumers are very good consumers.
I think this is a wonderful celebration. VAT has given a lot to the UK over the last 50 years. The UK yields a very significant soft power in this area. It really punches above its weight. Over the last 50 years, we have accumulated a lot of expertise in this area at all levels, from tax administration, which is an example for the rest of the world, to private practice, to the judiciary. The UK has an expertise they recognize worldwide. VAT is technically superior to many taxes, so it is not an accident that it has spread throughout the world. And a tax that didn't exist until the 1950s is now used by 170 countries worldwide. The mobility of capital, the mobility of labor is going to be felt very intensively. Automation is going to be felt very intensively on income taxes. And I think that we will be left relying more and more on the VAT going forward.
In terms of the administration of the tax, I think the data that exists in commercial supply chains and in payment systems, which is increasingly accessible because it's digitalised, can really help to transform the administration of VAT.
The MTD rollout was an interesting experiment. Businesses found it very difficult to implement. The phasing caught some businesses by surprise.
Part of the weaknesses that the UK VAT system has are actually spring from the same source as the strengths. We didn't know very well how to design VAT 50 years ago. Our tax administration is still to some extent stuck where it was. The HMRC is already doing quite a big amount of advances in terms of tax administration. Now, the UK is still behind the curve.
The delays that we're getting from HMRC, it's got much worse in the last 6 to 12 months, and it's just unfair to taxpayers.
But if I was to say, in terms of priorities, the base is the biggest priority. At this moment in time, the UK does not tax almost half of all consumption in the country. So this is a staggering number by international patterns.
The easiest and quickest way to simplify VAT would be to levy one rate of VAT across all of the tax base. However, it would be political suicide for the party that introduced it.
Well, HMRC, although we're the tax authority, we're only one player in a tax ecosystem, and tax agents and their representative bodies are really key to us, and getting their feedback and their help in changing tax policy and also in changing the way we administer tax is vitally important to us.
We have all those funny cases about qualification and interpretation, from Jaffa cakes to Pringles, giant marshmallows. It hides a very uncomfortable truth, which is we spend a huge amount of money litigating cases that, frankly, from a policy perspective, have very little merit. The benefits of applying these exclusions from the base are at best dubious, and this is not the best way of protecting the poorest. I'm convinced that in 50 years from now we will have a VAT because it is a robust tax that allows you to collect high levels of revenue in an efficient and neutral manner.
So our relationship with ICAEW is really important, and we welcome all of their input, critical or otherwise, to help us to get it right.
We've heard today from policymakers, from HMRC, from Treasury, how much they value input from ICAEW members. We have a wealth of expertise amongst our membership, and it's really key that our members engage with us so that we can pass on those messages to the key people.